We would like to now move on to what we see as the main points of clash. We've listed them, so we'll list them now, and if anybody would like to add anything that they think is particularly important that they'd like further discussion, then feel free to do that. We thought of 4 main points that we think are going to be issues. First, the use of force, whether any military or aggressive action should be taken. Regime change, whether Assad needs to be removed for us to reach an agreement. Sanctions, whether these should be removed, increased or decreased. And what should be done about opposition forces, whether they should be recognised or if they should be attacked, or they should just be treated with in an equal respect to Mr. Assad. I think it may be worth then moving on to the issue of the use of force, which is obviously going to be more of an immediate issue, because if we're talking about regime change, it's possible you might want a wait and see kind of attitude, but things like the use of force and the use of sanctions, what are people's stances on the more immediate effects? Would anyone like to begin?
We don't support the use of force now, but we reserve the right to in the future. But we do support the ceasefire, which would inherently need to be accompanied by a peacekeeping force.
We don't support we do support a ceasefire. We don't support the use of UN peacekeeping forces because we believe this is an internal issue within Syria and not a matter for the international community.
Ceasefires have been declared in the past in Syria, though, and the ceasefires have failed to come about. How is
We believe that a ceasefire can be reached by putting appropriate pressure on not only Assad's regime, but on the forces responsible for the initial effort.
It's been tried in the past, though, and it's failed.
What happens if Kofi Annan suggests a Arab League-led peacekeeping force going into Syria?
We want to wait for Kofi Annan's official report.
Don't we all? Well, what happens if he says that we'll have a peacekeeping force?
We can't speak to what ifs. We want to see the official report.
We're not going to do ifs.
People keep saying that.
But without a peacekeeping force, you're saying by supporting just a ceasefire, that's supporting a what is. Like, ceasefires have failed in the past because they have not been implemented by anyone. It's just been a cold ceasefire and it's failed.
Well,
you need something there to regulate it.
Have a moment to allow China and the Arab League.
Can we just get some clarification on what this peacekeeping force would actually do?
Keep peace.
And how? I mean, are they allowed to fire weapons, for example?
Well, no, because peacekeeping forces don't fire weapons unless they're
But they
fired
carry
on
them
themselves.
If they start coming under fire, obviously they have to defend themselves, but the idea is that a ceasefire is called, and you put in peacekeeping forces to maintain that ceasefire. If people start shooting at the peacekeeping force, they of course will have the right to retaliate, but that's not the idea.
We enforce a ceasefire and then put a peacekeeping force there as a deterrent for any fire to...
So you're saying that Russia's word is not as good as your peacekeeping force?
It's not Russia's word. They can't as a nation say that Syria won't.
As a point of clarification, the Arab League doesn't support Western peacekeepers.
We think that actually we've made a massive concession by agreeing to your proposal. I don't think you believe how massive concession that's been. All we're asking for is to have armed peacekeepers on the ground, non-Western, Arab League spearheaded, because if we disarm because basically what your proposal is to disarm, give me a second, one whole side of the conflict and leave the others back to their bases. Can you imagine the media fallout on us and on our partners that we speak for if the Assad regime started to kill their own civilians? We need the peacekeeping forces on the ground to be able to agree to your proposal. That's all we're asking for.
You don't have to ask me. It's a point of international law to ask Assad for his consent. Not me, not China.
Yeah, but we're asking you to agree to our proposal, and so far you said no.
In order for peacekeepers to be permitted, it is up to the current regime of the sovereign nation in order to agree upon for these peacekeepers to allow inside. What we are suggesting is support for the UN Charter to allow Assad to agree upon these terms before peacekeepers are sent in.
Does that mean that fundamentally you would accept peacekeeping forces to support the amnesty were Assad to agree to that?
Upon the
You don't
agreement
have a
of
fundamental
upon the agreement of
opposition to
Assad and the agreement of amnesty and ceasefire discussions with all parties present, yes, we do support Arab League peacekeepers.